Welcome to the Next Gen Ag Teachers, Establishing and Running a School Farm, Micro-Credential. This Micro-Credential aims to develop your knowledge and understanding of the operational and legislative requirements involved in running a school livestock farm or garden. You'll gain knowledge and understanding of the ongoing responsibilities, monitoring, record keeping, and risk mitigation strategies associated with animal welfare for animal use in schools. Determine the relevant categories of animal use activities and identify those that will require approval from the Queensland Schools Animal Ethics Committee. You'll be able to distinguish between activities requiring the Queensland School Animal Ethics Committee approval, registration as a biosecurity entity and scientific user, and activities that fall outside the scope of regulation. You'll understand how to access and complete the application forms needed and submit an animal ethics application. You'll be able to identify and access relevant resources and templates. Now let's look at the Micro-Credential itself. Establishing and running a school farm can be located on the Be Different platform. You'll see on the left-hand side the modules that it will navigate through. So first you'll start here with the Before You Begin. We'll have an acknowledgement of country. We'll provide an overview of the Micro-Credential itself with some curriculum links, some steps to succeed at self-paced learning, and information on how you'll be assessed. Module 1 is the introduction, so how you might get started. Provides details on the different types of school, farm or garden spaces available and some of the additional benefits that they will bring to your students. It introduces considerations in things like location, funding, and the schoolwork health and safety before you get started. And we have 2 case study videos. Creating a school garden, there's different options in which you might like to introduce to your school, and we've got some resources in particular for hydroponic systems. For your garden, another thing to consider is the plant selection, and we've developed this interactive figure based on the regions in Queensland and seasons, and provides you an idea of the different types of plants and how long they will grow in those areas and seasons. There's also information here about the different types of cropping used in Queensland if you have the space to have cropping on schools. We also introduce maintenance, so things to consider like watering, weeds, and even some native and pest species. Module 2 is the largest module, which really breaks down what you would need for livestock on your school farms. So first we introduce this section here looking at how you might go about putting livestock on your school farms and some of the different legislative requirements based on species. We touch on biosecurity, what it is and why it is an important consideration for your school farm. Also things like the requirement to register as a biosecurity entity with the Department of Agriculture and Fisheries based on the prerequisites listed here. We explore animal welfare, what it is, and the animal ethics for Queensland schools, what that consists of. We provide details on the committee levels and members of a ethics committee, and we even discuss the scientific user requirements. We have an interactive step-through guide and how you would go about applying for ethics with the Queensland School Animal Ethics Committee. This consists of 7 steps, and we've also provided resources below. We introduce options to adjust or lease animals and discuss the procedures needed if that's the avenue you would like to go down. We go into detail on the record keeping and reporting requirements needed for livestock and appropriate resources. We explore the Queensland School Animal Ethics Committee reporting requirements needed to maintain ethics approval and use for teaching. We touch on things like unexpected adverse events, what that means and how you would go about reporting that, and provide appropriate resources. We touch on livestock identification and tracking requirements based on the different species available, and we've got appropriate resources listed below. How you would go about setting up your National Livestock Identification System tags. We explore what a National Vendor Declaration or Electronic National Vendor Declaration is and when you would need to use that. We introduce movement records and appropriate record keeping when moving livestock between properties. And we even introduce cattle tick zones in Queensland and what you might need to do based on the zone you're in. We explore some of the considerations when sourcing livestock, such as some of the advantages of leasing or adjusting. We also have compiled the information needed for showing animals, the types of shows available to you that you can participate in, and some considerations. And we even introduce the importance of having connections with industry or other agricultural professionals to help you establish and maintain your farm. Module 3, it really compiles all of Module 2 into checklists based on the different species. So you can see here that we have them on cattle, sheep, goats, alpaca and llamas, chickens and other poultry, pigs, horses and other equines, fish, and even crustacean and bivalves. Here you can go and select the species of interest, and it provides you with a checklist that you can actively click through to ensure that you're meeting your legislative and reporting requirements. Module 4 is focusing on school health and safety overview. We introduce some of the school health and safety requirements to consider, so how you would manage risks or how you implement the CARA plan and risk management, looking when applying livestock on school farms. And we mentioned some of the specific risks and considerations when working with live animals. We also provided several resources on animal observation and handling and some of those prohibited high-risk chemicals. We've also listed the 2 main restrictions on facilities and equipment currently in place. Finally, you'll have the assessment, which consists of 15 multiple choice questions, and on completion, you'll be able to download your digital badge.